You can draw this in Procreate. During this easy to follow, step-by-step Procreate beginner level tutorial, I will guide you through all the steps of creating this isometric book house. And while we are at it, you will also learn about handy features in Procreate, like using alpha lock, layer clipping mask, layer blending modes, and adding lighting effects with the bloom feature. For this tutorial, what you need is of course the app Procreate. You'll need the color palette, which I have linked in the description. It's totally free, of course. And you need to set your canvas to 2500 pixels by 2500 pixels. And what you need to do once you're finished is share your work, of course. If you're sharing it on Instagram, then please tag me in the image, not just in the description, because that way I will be able to find your work as I scroll through all of your tutorial results. So please keep sharing. And then now, if you're ready, let's get started. We'll start off by turning on our isometric grid. You can do that by going to the wrench, then to Canvas, then turn on Drawing Guide, then tap Edit Drawing Guide, and then over here set it to isometric. And then you can change the opacity and thickness. I'm going to make the lines a little bit thicker, a little bit more opaque, just so you can easily see them in the video. And then once you're happy with your settings, you can tap Done. Now when you go to your layer menu, make sure to tap that layer and turn on Drawing Assist, so all of our lines will follow this grid. Then grab your favorite sketching brush. I'll be using the HB pencil during this video, and set your color to like a dark gray or black, just a dark color. And for this brush, I have the opacity set to 100% and the size is at, well, let's actually set that to 100% as well. And then you can see that all the lines will follow our grid. And I will start with our basic book shape. And to make sure you got the same shape as I do, we are going to do some counting. First, we'll start here on the right, and then we'll count 12 blocks to the left. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then we'll go down 1, 2 blocks. And then first we'll make a line of 4 in this direction. So 2, 3, 4, line like this. And then we'll go 9 in this direction. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like this. You can make the line a little bit thicker. And then here we'll go for 4 lines, 4 blocks again. And then we'll connect these two. Then we'll go down 13 blocks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And now we are going to turn this into a nice block. So first we'll go 4 to the left here. Then we can go up, connecting these two. Then here we'll go to the right and connect this part as well. So now we have the base shape for our book. Now we are going to make an extra line in here. We'll go to about the halfway point of this block, and then we'll go in this direction to about here, then in this direction, and then back here. Here we'll go down a little bit, and then make another line like this. And then another line here. And we actually don't need this one anymore. We can tap and hold the eraser to make it switch to our HB pencil. And then we can erase this area. Let me set this to 100% as well. We can erase this line that we don't need. And you can see that our eraser is also following the isometric grid. Then let's grab the brush again, and then a little bit below this first block, I'd like to make a line like this and around. So we'll also go in this direction. And then here we'll do the same, a little bit above one block, make an extra line, and then around the corner. Then over here, we'll make a rectangular shape. First, we'll make a line like this, then we'll go down to about here, then to the left, and then connect these two parts. You don't have to precisely count this. And I'll make an extra line on the inside like this. Then for a door, we'll move like 3.5 blocks, or like 1, 2, 3 and a little here. And also from this side, so 1, 2, 3 and a little. And then I'd like to go up 6 blocks. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then close this. This will be our door. Now we'll also make a window at the same height. We'll make a line like this first. 3 blocks. Then we'll go to the left a little bit more than 1.5 blocks. And then we'll go up and close it. And I want the same size window on the left side. So what we can do is just select this one. We can go to the selection tool, set it to freehand, and then select this window. Close that selection by tapping the circle. Then you can slide down with 3 fingers and use duplicate. And now we can use this duplicate window. Let me turn off snapping here. And then we can place it at about the same distance. So that would be about here. And then tap the arrow again to get out of here and go to your layer menu to pinch these together. Now let's create some more windows. First, let's make some lines going up like this, so we can make windows that are the same width, and another window that is the same width as our door. So just some thin lines, and then we'll go along this line at the top, create the top parts of these windows, and then we'll go down to about here for the underside. I'd also like to make an extra line over here, a little bit below the top, go around the corner, and over here as well at the bottom. Here around the corner. And then let's grab the eraser, get rid of this line in our door. And we can also get rid of these extended lines. Just get rid of whatever is starting to get confusing. Now let's grab the brush again. Now we are going to give some depth to our windows and to the door. First, let's start with our windows. Make a little line going in like this, then go up, connect this one, then to this area, and connect it here. So for each window, little line, then up, connected, then to the right. Maybe this one needs a little bit more volume, something like this, but we can tidy it up in the line drawing phase. So a line like this, and to the corner, then to the right, and connect these two. Go for the same depth for each window. This one, a little bit thicker. And then we'll make an extra rectangle inside of each window. We just make these parallel lines parallel to the outer parts with a little bit of distance in between. So we get a nice window frame. And then finally this one. And then final thing is to add a little extension here, then go up and to the left. A little extension, then up and to the left. A little extension, up and to the left. And then finally for these windows as well. This one. And then for the door frame, here I'd like to extend it outward. So we'll make a line like this. Then we'll go up, connect this, then add this line, go to this frame. Then we need to go inward a little bit here, and then extend this line downward. Then we'll make a line here for the frame. And we'll go down here. But we don't need to extend it entirely because we also need a door. First, let's grab our eraser, get rid of this line now. And this one. Or at least make it a lot more transparent. Then for the door, I'd like to make a new layer. Let's tap the plus. And let's grab a different color for now. Let's just grab a red, for instance. And go to the layer, make sure that you turn on drawing assist. And then we are going to draw a door. And it needs to be inside this frame, so it should be like this. And down here. And then connect these two. So we have a red door. We might paint it black later. Now I want to open it. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's go to the Move and Transform tool. Set it to Distort. And then we'll drag this handle downward. And we are going to open this door to about here. Then I'd like to move it a little bit to the edge of that frame to about here. And now let's go back to our layers. Let's drag this one underneath the other. And then go back to our layer on which we are using black. Now we are going to draw our door. First, I'd like a line going down. Then we need a line in this direction. Let's draw a line and then hold your pen in place and then drag it upward. Make a line like this. Attach these two. Then another line here. So first, hold it in place and drag it upward. And another one here. First, we need to attach this, draw a line, hold it in place, and then drag it like this. So that's how you can draw a very simple door. Now let's turn off drawing assist. We'll tap the layer, turn that off, and let's add a little doorknob. And let's use the eraser to get rid of this line, for instance. Over here, this one. Just tidy it up a little bit. Now let's move on. Let's grab the brush again. Let's work on the book a little bit. Let's create some lines here. Let's make a line like this. Hold your pen in place. And another one over here. So it's moving towards each other a little bit, like the book is opening up a little bit. And then a line down here. Then let's grab the eraser, get rid of this little line. Let's also tidy this up a bit. And then I'd like to add a little staff. So we'll grab the brush again. Then I'd like to make a star shape here. So just sketch out a star shape. Something like this. And then diagonal line here and another one. Maybe the star needs to get rotated a little bit. We have this in here. Then we can grab the selection tool and we can just select our star shape, close the selection, then go to the Move and Transform tool and just rotate it a little bit. Move it around so you get something like this, and then just tap the brush to get out of that menu. Then we can use the eraser to tidy it up to get rid of this. And then let's turn on drawing assist again. Let's actually also get rid of this layer with our red door. Let's slide to the left, tap delete, go back here, then use the brush and add some lines here for the book pages. Also over here. Then finally, let's turn off Drawing Assist and let's sketch in some curtains behind these windows. You can change things up a little bit, have some falling down. Just create a bit of variety. And then I'd like the surroundings to be starry, and I'd also like to add a little moon here. Let's just sketch that in so we don't forget to add that later in our illustration. And I want this book to be in the clouds. So we'll make some cloudy shapes. And over here. And in the foreground. Now for the line art, what I would like to do is make the book a bit more rounded. So with our sketch, we can actually make a new layer on top. Let's tap the plus and lower the opacity of our initial sketch a little bit to like 57. And I'd like to make the corners all a bit more rounded. We can go along these corners, make that a little bit more rounded. Just make sure that you do it a bit tidy. And also over here, this band around the book, you can make that a bit more rounded as well. Over here, just make those corners rounded. And it's very, very subtle, but it'll add some, I think, more friendliness to the illustration. You don't have to do it for the book pages. Here it's easy, just make it a little bit rounded. Then this corner, you can rotate your canvas, then make round a corner like this. So you're cutting a little part off. Here as well, cutting those parts off, making this part rounded. I think that makes it look, definitely makes it look more friendly. Now we can go back to this layer and use the eraser to get rid of some of the pointy parts, just so during the line art phase we can easily read this. You can easily understand what lines to follow. And we have that corner over here. For the line art, I'd like to have this line here as more of a dashed line. So we can open it up a little bit just as a reminder to ourselves that we want that line to be a bit more dashed. Get rid of this corner. And then I believe we have a very decent sketch here that we can use for our line art. You could turn off the isometric grid. You can go to the wrench and then turn off the drawing guide. And then, well, it's easier to see your sketch this way. And then to create your line art, first let's pinch these together. And then let's lower the opacity. Let's set it to 30% or whatever you like. And then tap the plus, and this will be our line art layer. Now I just want to add line art to the isometric book house itself. So no line art for the clouds or the moon. And I want to give the star a different color of line art. So we'll do that last. First, we'll start by picking our color, the first color in the first row. And for the brush, I'd like to go to the inking brushes and use the studio pen. Now, the opacity of this brush should be at 100% and the size at 10%. And I'd like the line art to be a little bit playful. So it's not necessary to turn on Drawing Assist on your layer. If you turn on Drawing Assist on this layer, then all the lines will follow the grid. Again, even though you can't see a grid on your canvas right now, I would suggest only using that for long lines where you really can find the stability to get a decent line, or for the windows, for instance. But for the most parts, I would suggest just going in there and making lines by hand, because that will give your illustration so much more character. And it's okay if some of the lines are a little bit wonky or messy. This is just, this is handwork. So just follow all of your sketch lines. And also this one, we can use the quick shape tool here. And over here, and then later we'll add the star lines. And then let's add a line here. I'll do the quick shape for now for this one. But for the other ones, we can continue just drawing them by hand, adding that character to your book. And sometimes you might have to undo a part, go over it again. That's all fine. But just continue doing this until you have followed all of the lines like this. And then for the star, let's use this color. That's the second color in the second row. Now let's go in here and follow those lines. Like that. And now that we have all the lines, it's time to start coloring. Let's start with a color for our background. Let's make a layer by tapping the plus, and then let's drag that underneath the other layers. And then for our color, we'll grab this one, the second color in the first row, and drag it onto our canvas. Then we'll make a new layer on top of this. We'll tap the plus, and then for the color, we'll go to the fourth color in the first row, and we are going to create some clouds. And we can still use that same brush. Just make these semicircles. And make sure to close the shape over here in the center. And then drag in the color underneath. Then we can tap the plus and make another layer. And then we'll switch to the third color in the first row. And you can follow your sketch. Be sure to go behind the book. More rounded shapes. And then drag in the color again. Then we'll tap the plus one more time and make more clouds with that fourth color in the first row. And we'll make some over here in the foreground and drag in the color. You can tap, continue filling here at the top, and tap in these areas to fill those as well. And then we'll make another layer on top, and then we'll color our book. Let's make a layer on top of our sketch layer. Actually, I think we can turn off our sketch layer by now. I'm pretty sure we'll manage creating that moon without our sketch. And now for the color, we'll grab this one over here. That's the fifth color in the first row. And we are going to use that for the book. Now what you could do is go to the line art layer and tap that, and then turn on reference. And now you can go back to that new layer you created, and then you can just drag in the colors, tap continue filling, and we'll also color this edge and this lower edge here. So we got these. Now I'd like a new layer on top. Let's tap the plus, and then let's grab this darker blue, sixth color in the first row. I want to use that for the shadow side, but we can't fill the shape because we have this dashed line. So first we need to turn off reference on this layer, tap it, turn that off, go back to this layer, and now let's just follow that shape. We can just follow those edges until we have created a closed shape all around. So we can go along this edge, along our dashed line. Down here, So we can close that shape. And now you can drag in the color. Now this won't work if you still have that top layer, that line art layer set to reference. So do make sure that you have that turned off. Then let's also add this color in this area. And you could make a closed shape again first and then fill it. But this is so thin, so small that we can just actually color it in by hand. All right, then let's continue. Now we can actually merge these two together. Now that we have these separate colors, then let's turn this layer, that line art layer, back to reference again. Then go to this layer again with our colors, and then we'll grab this color, 7th color in the first row. Let's use that for this top area. And then for the paper, let's grab this color. That's the 5th color in the 2nd row. Let's drag that in here. Let's zoom in a little bit, use continue filling and fill this area as well. And then we'll switch to this color, 6th color in the 2nd row, and we'll drop that in here. Now you could put all these colors on separate layers. Sometimes I like to do that when I still want to be able to manipulate the colors, because then you can easily pick one color, pick one area, and for instance, use saturation brightness adjustment and just play around with the colors, change them until you find something that you like. Now let's make a new layer on top of this one. Let's tap the plus and then let's grab this one. And I want to use that for this edge. And I'm putting this one on a separate layer because I want to be able to just go over this layer, this edge, without touching the blue of the book later on. Now I want this area to be darker, so let's turn this layer to alpha lock, set it to alpha lock so we can go outside of the shape. And then let's grab this color, 1st color in the 3rd row. And let's go over here and color that area in. And I'll just do it by hand. It's not that big. This is the shadow area. So we want some darker colors here. And we also want to use this color for this edge here. But we need to turn off alpha lock again, otherwise we can't fill that area. So let's tap the layer, turn off alpha lock, and then drag that in here. Now let's also use it for this little wand. And maybe we can also use it for the doorknob. All right, now let's make a new layer. Let's tap the plus. Let's put the windows and the door on a separate layer. We still have reference turned on for our line art layer. Now let's use this color, this 1st color in the 2nd row, and add that to the front parts of the windows. Let's use continue filling and tap in these areas. And let's also use it for this inner part on the right side. Then let's switch to this dark color, 2nd color in the 2nd row, and we can continue filling. You just tap in these areas. We'll tap these areas on the side. And then for some lighter color, we'll grab this one, 3rd color in the 2nd row, and use that for these top parts. Here we have a little gap, so we'll have to fix that later. Here we have a little gap as well, so let's just first fill this, then let's just grab the brush and fill this in by hand. Or you could close the gap in the line art, but I like the playful look. Then for the curtains, I'd like to use this color, 4th color in the 2nd row. We'll drag that on there, then use continue filling. And then just go over these areas, just not the ones with the gaps. We'll need to use the brush again, and then just color that in by hand. Over here as well. Then for the door, we'll grab this color. Let's drag that onto the front. Then use continue filling, and let's use this darker one, 9th color in the first row, tap here. And then for the top, I'd like to use this one, 10th color in the first row. And of course, we also still need that door frame. And we can use those other colors again. This one, 2nd color in the 2nd row for the side. And then for the other parts, we'll use that lighter color. 3rd color in the 2nd row, drop that in here. All right, next let's fill the windows. Let's make a layer on top of our line art. Let's tap the plus here. So first select the line art, then tap the plus. Then we'll grab this color, 3rd color in the 3rd row. We are going to drag that in here, use continue filling. And then tap that little check mark. Now the reason I put this on a layer on top of the line art is that I want to add a glow, and I want that glow to also cover the line art a bit. And to add that glow, we'll go to the magic wand, then to bloom, and then you can slide to the right on your screen to turn up the bloom. You can play around with the size and with the burn. I don't want the size to be too big. So I'll go for something like this. The bloom is at 80%, the burn at 53%, and the size at 23%. Then you can tap the magic wand again. I want to do the same for that little star. So let's make another layer. Let's tap the plus, drag it onto the star, and then again, go to the magic wand, use bloom, and slide to the right. Play around with the size and the burn. I'll go for something like this, 69 bloom, 30% in size, and 46% a burn. And then tap the magic wand again. I also want to add a glow effect on the inside of the door. So let's make another layer for that. But let's put it underneath the line art this time. So let's go to this layer, then tap the plus, and then let's just by hand create a shape here on the inside. And then when you turn off reference on layer 2 here, let's tap it, turn that off, then back to the shape, then we can drag in the color. And let's make a line like this, and another one. You can use a line here at the top to change it a bit, then tap the brush, close that shape as well, drag in the color, and then let's use bloom again. Let's go to the magic wand, to bloom, slide to the right. Let's check this out. Play around with the burn. I think something like this looks nice. I'll go for 53% bloom, 33% in size, and 60% burn. And then I want to fade this a little bit. So we'll tap this layer and then add a mask. And then we'll go to the airbrushing brushes and use the soft brush. I have the opacity of this brush at 60%. The size is at 7. And then let's go over this lower area with rounded motions and make this fade. So that we get a gentle fade and you don't see that weird edge here at the bottom anymore. I think this looks really nice. I just feel like perhaps the light coming from inside the house is a little bit too yellow, but we can easily fix that. Let's go to our windows layer here, the window light. Then let's go to the magic wand to use saturation brightness. And then we can just turn down the saturation a bit and make it less yellow compared to the star. So let's go for 28%. And let's do the same for the door. So we'll go back to the layer menu, tap this layer, then go to the magic wand to use saturation brightness, and then turn down the saturation to 28%. And then just tap the magic wand again. Next, I'd like to add a little lighting effect to this band here, to layer 8 here. We'll add a new layer on top of this. We'll tap the plus, and then we'll set this new layer to clipping mask. It works a bit the same as alpha lock. Now, whatever we draw here, it'll only show up on the shape. And we'll also change the layer blending mode. You can do that by tapping the N, and we are going to set it to add, which is a great layer blending mode for adding light effects. And for the color, we'll use that second color in the third row, which is the same color that's already on here, but now when you paint on it, it'll lighten up. Let's make the brush a little bit smaller, 4%, and then let's go over here very gently and add a bit of this golden effect. And also here at the bottom a little bit, and over here. I think that adds a nice extra touch. I also want to add some text to the book. We have a nice area here to which we can add some text. And let's do that. Well, we can do that on this layer, well, on top of this one. Let's go to the wrench, then to add, and then to add text. And I'd like to add the text Sweet Dreams. So just type here. Then go to the AA. And we need to double tap to select all of the text. Well, then we need to tap AA again. Sometimes the text editor in Procreate works a bit weirdly, but let's turn it to all caps by turning this on, and then tap this little icon to make it vertical, our text. And then use this handle to make the bounding box a bit bigger. Well, not too big, we want it to fit in this area, so we need to make the text a bit smaller. And now you can go and grab your favorite font. I want to use Planet Comic. I think it's a font that I have downloaded. In that case, I will leave a link in the description. So now let's move it around. I see it pretty much fits. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. Something like this. Maybe just a tiny bit bigger. Yeah, I think this looks good. Now let's tap done. And now we need it to follow our isometric grid. And to do that, let's first turn on our grid again by going to the wrench, then to canvas, turn the grid on. Then let's go to the move and transform tool, set it to distort, and then move this handle downward until that top and bottom line follow the grid. We can move it up a bit, place it in the center, and then tap the arrow again. And now we can turn our drawing guide off again. And let's make these letters glow as well, just like we did with the star and the windows. So we'll go to the magic wand, to bloom, and slide to the right. I think that looks really nice. You can play around again. I'll go for something like this. Bloom at 76%, size at 26, and a burn at 40. And then tap the magic wand. You're doing great so far. If you are enjoying isometric drawing tutorials, then you should know that at Patreon I have a bunch more, along with lots of other Procreate drawing and painting tutorials. And if you join as a patron, you won't just get access to 150 plus tutorials, you'll also get hundreds of brushes, and you'll be part of the most amazing group of flow creators. But let's continue. Let's add some lighting effects to our clouds. Let's go to those layers. Let's start with this one. Let's make a new layer on top by tapping the plus, then set the new layer to clipping mask, and then turn the layer blending mode to add again. Now for our brush, I'd like to go to the spray paints and use the medium nozzle. And for the color, we'll just pick the color that's already there. So we'll tap and hold to grab the color. And the opacity of the brush is at 60. And let's set the size to 60 or around 60 as well. And then we'll just go over the top area like this to lighten that up a bit. Now we can also add some more cloud-like bumps by using the selection tool. That's the S-shaped ribbon, set it to ellipse. And now let's make these rounded selections like this. And on this side as well. And then grab the brush again and go over the top. You can paint outside of the shape to just lighten up the edge. Now when you turn the selection off, you see that you get that nice extra cloudy shape. We'll do the same for the next layer. So we'll go to layer 5 here, tap the plus, then set this layer to clipping mask, tap the N, scroll down to add, and then pick the local color again. So we'll tap and hold, then go over the top. You see that it gives this nice pinkish color. And then we'll grab the selection tool again to make some rounded shapes. Let's just make sure that we go over that underside as well, so we don't get any weird like parts at the bottom. So I want to select that area as well. Then let's grab the brush, go over the top part, get that nice cloudy effect, and then tap the S shape ribbon again. We can do it one more time for this area. Grab the selection tool, make a little bump here, then grab the brush, go over the top, and then tap the S shape ribbon again. Then finally, for that other layer, layer 6, we'll tap the plus again, set the new layer to clipping mask, tap the N, scroll down to add, and then grab the local color again. Go over the top, and then we'll add some extra shapes with the S shape ribbon. Just some rounded shapes. Grab the brush, go along the edge for that nice effect, and then tap the S shape ribbon again. I just feel like maybe we could use one over here. This is a pretty big area. I think that would look nice. So let's go back to this one. Grab the S shaped ribbon. I think something like this will look nice. Let's grab the brush. Of course, we need that local color. So tap and hold, and then go over here for an extra little bump, and then tap the S shape ribbon. Now finally, we also need this effect on layer 3 here. Let's tap the plus, set this layer to add, and you don't have to set it to clipping mask because that layer that is underneath, that's the entire canvas, so that's not necessary. Then let's grab this color, second color in the first row, that's the local color, and let's just go over here and create a bit of a glow like around our book. And for a little shadow, let's go to this layer. So we're underneath our book, but we're on top of our clouds. Let's tap the plus, set this layer to multiply, which is great for shadows. And then for our brush, we'll go back to the inking brushes and use the studio pen. And for the color, I guess we can use this one. That's the 8th color in the first row. And let's just create a little shadow shape, something like this. Drag in the color, make it a little bit more tidy. A little bit rounded because we have that rounded shape in our book. Then let's go to the magic wand and use Gaussian blur to soften the shadow a bit. And just slide to the right to soften it. And let's also lower the opacity a bit. I'm at 7% blur, by the way. Then let's go to the layer, tap the M, slide to the left, and set it to like 62%. Then what we need finally are some extra stars and a moon. We can just put those on a layer on top of the others. So let's go to the top, tap the plus, then grab this yellow, 3rd color in the 3rd row. And then let's first make that moon. Let's make a semicircle. Hold your pen in place, tap one finger on the screen, And then let's go in here and make another one. Hold your pen in place so that it attaches. Then drag in the color. And you can tap and hold the eraser so that it's set to the studio pen. And then you can make the ends a little bit more pointy. Tidy it up a little bit. I feel like it might be a little bit too close to our book, so we can just go to the Move and Transform tool and move it to the right. And then tap the arrow again. Now let's also add some simple stars. We need to grab our brush and then just let's make some simple star shapes. Use Edit at the top. Create some shapes like this. Drag in the color. And use Continue Filling. And here as well, you can use the eraser and tidy up some bumpy parts. Then grab the brush. So just make a shape like this. Hold your pen in place. And then use Edit to adjust it. And then drag in the color. Then use the eraser to fix any parts that need fixing. And then just add a few more stars until it looks like this. Then we need some glow for these stars. So let's go to the magic wand again and then to Bloom and slide to the right. Then play around with the size and the burn. I think something like this looks nice. Bloom at 56, size at 27, and burn at 64. And then tap the magic wand again. Then let's add some more sparkles. We can do that with one of the luminance brushes. Let's use the light pen. And for the color, we'll use this one. Fifth color in the second row. Let's set the opacity of this brush at 100%. The size is at 70. And let's just add some extra stars, extra sparkles. Just in some random places. The harder you press, the bigger the star will become. Try to vary that a little bit. Some of them are a little bit grouped together. Just go all over, also over these clouds. Then let's add some final lighting effects on a layer at the top. Let's tap the plus, set this new layer to add, because we're going to add lighting effects. And for the brush, let's go to the airbrushing brushes, and let's use the medium brush. And for the color, let's use the fourth color in the third row. Let's check the size, it needs to be bigger. Let's go for something like 12%, the opacity is at 33. And let's just make some of these diagonal lines. You can use Edit, adjust them a bit. Let's also make the brush smaller, 6%. Make some various sizes. So something like this. Maybe go even smaller, 3%. Add some extra on top here. Then we are going to blur this a bit. We'll go to the magic wand, use Gaussian blur, slide to the right. Let's go for maybe 16%. Then we need a layer mask again. So we'll tap this layer, add a mask. And then for the brush, we'll use the soft brush again. That's softer than a medium brush. The size, let's set that to like 15%. And then let's go over this lower area and along the side to gently make it fade. And of course you can also play around with the opacity. Let's make this a bit smaller. And I tap the A. Let's lower the opacity a little bit. Let's set it to like 50% or 51. So now we get a really subtle like moonlight effect. And there you have it. You have finished your isometric book house. I hope you have enjoyed following along. I have sure enjoyed creating this piece with you, and I would love to see your result. And I would love to see you next time for the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.